My name is Sig and this is my channel, and today I'm going to show you how to make this lovely fall and winter scarf. The stitch pattern is one of my own devising. It is made with front and back post stitches, and it creates kind of a windows appearance, and so this is why I call it windows. It is also trimmed out with this lovely Irish crochet leaf motif. Now, this particular leaf motif is a modified Irish crochet. In other words, in traditional Irish crochet, you're going to use what's known as a padding cord. And in this particular motif, we are going to make it without the padding cord. So if you find value in this video, help me grow my channel by hitting the like and subscribe button. Now let's get started. For today's project, we are going to need just a few items. First, we're going to need a measuring tape, a pair of scissors, a yarn needle, a hook size K. This size K or 6.5 millimeter hook was actually recommended by the yarn company per the yarn I'll be using today. This is a medium weight yarn, and this is by Lion Brand Yarns, and it's from their Landscapes collection, and the color is Desert Spring. I love it. It's great for this piece. However, you are more than welcome to use whatever medium weight yarn suits your fancy. Started with this Irish crochet leaf pattern. It's a modified Irish crochet, and as I had mentioned before, we will not be using any pad or cord padding. And we will begin the piece by chaining 10 chains. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to chain 2 single crochets in that second chain from the hook. And then I'm going to double crochet a double crochet in each of the next following chains. And that'll give me a total of 7 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Your piece should look something like that. And then the next thing I'm going to do is this very first chain on my foundation chain, I'm going to crochet 3 single crochets inside this chain. And then I'm going to continue onto the opposite side of this foundation chain, and I'm going to double crochet 7 more double crochets, mirroring the double crochets I just did. So now so far you should have 2 single crochets, 7 double crochets, 3 single crochets, and then 7 double crochets. And then back again in this first chain space where we put our first single crochet, we're going to do 1 more single crochet. And then I'm going to slip stitch into that first single crochet. And now we're ready for the second row. So to get the second row started, I'm going to go ahead and make 5 chains. And then I'm going to double crochet in that same space. And then I'm going to chain 3. I'm going to skip the next single crochet, and I'm going to double crochet in the next stitch. And I'm going to chain 3. I'm going to skip the next stitch, and I'm going to double crochet in the following stitch. Chain 3, skip a stitch, double crochet in the following stitch. Again, chain 3, skip a stitch, double crochet in the following stitch. So now that brings us to the end of our piece. I'm going to again chain 3, and I'm going to skip that first single crochet in this stitch, and I am going to double crochet in the second single crochet of that end stitch, and I'm going to chain 3, and I'm going to go ahead and double crochet again into that very same stitch. So you can see what I've done here. And I'm going to chain 3, and I'm going to do the same thing up the other side of the leaf. Now when I get back here to this end of the leaf, I am going to skip this single crochet right here in this space, and I am going to go ahead and make another double crochet in this same stitch. And I'm going to chain 3, and then I'm going to slip stitch into the third chain. And so you should have something that looks like this. And then I'm going to chain 5. And then single crochet in the second chain from the hook. I'm going to do that 4 times. Single crochet in each of the chains, going back down that stem. Now that I'm at the base of the stem, I'm going to make a single crochet into this first chain 3 space. And then I'm going to continue with 3 double crochets. And then an additional single crochet in that same 3 chain space. And I'm going to continue this pattern for each of the 3 chain spaces. So I'm going to single crochet, double crochet 3 times, and then single crochet again. And that gives me my scalloped edge. And I'm going to continue that in each of the spaces, going around the leaf. So now that you've completed your last scallop in the last chain 3 space, we're back around to the stem again. And so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to the base of this stem, and I'm going to make a single crochet. And then I'm going to make 3 more single crochets in each one of those chain stitches, or a single crochet in each one of those chain stitches. So like so. And then I'm going to slip stitch in this chain stitch on the top. And then I'm going to finish off my leaf. Now I want to leave a bit of a tail because I'm going to use this tail to sew my Irish Crochet Leaf Motif onto the scarf itself. You're going to want to make 8 of these for your scarf. And when you've finished making them, you can move on to the next step. And I will be right back to show you what that looks like. To begin the body of the scarf, we're going to start by crocheting 25 chains. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. And then I'm going to do that one more time in the next chain. So now this 3 chain right here, it's going to act as a stand-in for a double crochet. So for all intents and purposes, we're going to consider that a double crochet as well. So we have 3 double crochets, and then we're going to skip 2 chain spaces. And then I'm going to double crochet 3 double crochets in that next stitch. I'm going to chain 1. And then I'm going to double crochet 3 more double crochets in that same stitch. And that's going to give me my shell. Then I'm going to skip the next 2 chain stitches, and I'm going to double crochet in the next 7 stitches. So that'll leave me with a total of 7 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now I'm going to skip these next 2 chain stitches, and I'm going to put 3 double crochets into the next stitch. and then I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to put an additional 3 double crochets into that same stitch to effectively create my second shell on this row. So now I'm going to skip the next 2 stitches, and I'm going to double crochet in the last 3 chain stitches. So that'll be 1, 2, and 3. So this is what your piece should basically look like. You have 25 stitches total. Your first double crochet is made in the 4th chain from the hook. And then you're going to do 1 more double crochet, skip 2, do 3 double crochets, chain 1, do 3 more double crochets. Then you're going to skip 2, and then you're going to do 7 double crochets, skip 2, 3 double crochets in the same stitch, single chain, and then an additional 3 double crochets in that same stitch. And then you're going to skip 2, and then 3 double crochets in those last 3 stitches. This is going to be the width, well, almost the width. So you figure you're looking at about 7.5 inches. Okay, that's just about where your gauge should be. And by the time we get the trim on, you're going to be looking at about 8+ inches in width. Now your standard scarf is going to be between 6 and 8 inches in width. So you're going to be right there within the standards. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to chain 3 and turn. Again, this 3 chain turning is going to be a stand-in for a double crochet. So now we're going to begin the front and back post stitches. And for those of you who are unaware of what a post is, a post is this part of your stitch that basically holds up the stitch itself, right? So if this is the top part of your stitch, this is going to be the post. So in this case, the double crochet part of this stitch is the post. And the front post is going to be refer to the post that is facing you, whereas the back post is going to be the post side, or the side of the post that is on the opposite side of the fabric that you happen to be working on. So we're going to begin by doing a back post, and I'm going to work this like I would almost any other double crochet, except I'm going to wrap or insert my hook through the back of the post and then pull my yarn up, yarn over, and I'm going to work it just like any other double crochet. So yarn over, insert my hook through the back of that post, pull through, yarn over again, and I'm going to work it just like any other double crochet. So for all intents and purposes, we have 3 double crochets now, back posts, 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to double crochet into this chain 1 space. And I'm going to do that 3 times. I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to put 3 more double crochets into that chain 1 space. And then I'm going to do a back post double crochet in each one of these next 7 stitches. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 posts. Now I'm going to double crochet 3 double crochets into this next chain 1 space. I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to double crochet another 3 double crochets into that same stitch. Then I'm going to do a back post double crochet in that next double crochet stitch. Again, and then one more time. So this is what your piece should look like at the end of row 2. Then we're going to chain 3, and we're going to turn the work. Now this time we're going to do a front post double crochet. So to do that, it's going to be real similar to a back post double crochet, except I'm going to go through the double crochet via the front of the fabric that is facing me. So I'm going to insert the hook into there, yarn over, and pull through just like a regular double crochet. Again, yarn over, insert my hook behind the front of that post, pull my yarn over again, and work just like a regular standard double crochet. And then again, I'm going to do 3 double crochets into that chain 1 space, a single chain, and then 3 more double crochets into that same stitch. And then I'm going to do a front post double crochet in each one of these next 7 double crochets. Now, if I seem to be going a little slow, for those of you who are a little more advanced, I apologize. I'm just trying to help those who are just really learning these stitches to understand what it is they're doing and how they're doing. And so I appreciate your understanding and your patience. Okay, so now we have 7 front post double crochets. Again, we're going to do 3 double crochets in that chain 1 space. One chain, and then 3 more double crochets in that same space. And again, 3 front post double crochets to finish off the row. And I'm going to chain 3, and I'm going to turn my work. Okay, so now here is where the stitches get a little different. Okay, so I'm going to do a back post double crochet in the next stitch, and 1 more back post double crochet in this stitch. Now what I'm going to do here is I am going to slip stitch each of the next 7 stitches on this shell. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now I'm going to back post double crochet the next 7 stitches. And again, I'm going to slip stitch in these next 7 stitches. And then I'm going to back post, double crochet in the next 3 stitches. Okay. So you can see kind of where we changed things up a little bit in that 4th row, where we have our back post double crochets, but along the top of the shell, we're slip stitching. Now I'm going to do a 3 chains, and I'm going to turn the piece. So now things are going to be a little different because now we're changing to our next story, if you like, of the building with all the windows in it. Best way I can describe it, because that's what it reminds me of. And I really like the look. So what we're going to do here is we have our 3 chain stitches, and that'll, again, act as 1 double crochet. And then I'm going to double crochet 2 more times in that same stitch. So in effect, that will give us like half a shell, if you like. And then I'm going to skip these next 2 stitches, and I'm going to double crochet in the slip stitch. Just go back there and double crochet in the slip stitch only. And you're going to do that 7 times. And be careful, because sometimes, you know, I know I do. I make the slip stitches a little tight sometimes. And so, so my needle or my hook doesn't always slide through it as easy as I would like it to. But as a general rule, I kind of am do a little more tight stitch anyways. That's just kind of how I naturally crochet. Oops. Okay, so now you can see, so by doing our double crochet only in those backs, in the slip stitch that sits behind this shell stitch, you can already see that it's giving us a nice definition, a nice archway to that window. And it creates a lovely visual effect to this textured fabric. So now I'm going to double crochet. I'm going to skip the next 3 stitches, and then I'm going to double crochet in that 4th double crochet. And I'm going to do this 3 times in the same stitch. And then I'm going to chain 1. And I'm going to do it 3 more times in that same stitch. And then I'm going to double crochet in the next slip stitch. So basically I'm going to skip these next 3 double crochets, and I'm going to double crochet in the very next slip stitch. And I'll do that in each additional slip stitch. And that'll give me a total of 7 double crochets. And then I'm going to double crochet in the very last stitch of this row. 1, 2, and 3 times in the same stitch. Then I'm going to chain 3, and I'm going to turn my work. So now I'm going to give myself 2 double crochets in that same stitch. And I am going to do a back post double crochet. And the 7 double crochets over the shell. So I'm going to skip these next 2 stitches, and I'm going to double crochet or back post double crochet in the next 7 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And again, double crochet in the next chain stitch space 3 times. Chain stitch, and then 3 more double crochets in that same space. And then we're going to skip the next couple of stitches and come back over here to these 7 double crochets that sit right over the top of that window. And I'm going to do a back post double crochet stitch in each one of them, giving me a total of 7 back post double crochet stitches. And then again, I'm going to double crochet in that last stitch of this row. I'm going to do it 2 more times, so I have a total of 3 double crochets in that very last stitch. And then I'm going to chain 3. I'm going to turn my work. So now you can really see how this pattern is beginning to emerge. Scratch. And I'm going to double crochet twice in that same turning stitch. And I'm going to do 7 front post double crochets in these next 7 post stitches. And again, double crochet into that chain 1 space 3 times. And then a chain. And then a double crochet 3 more times. And then a front post double crochet in the next post stitch. And of course that'll give us a total of 7 because we're going to do each of the 7 post stitches in a front double crochet post stitch. And then I'm going to do 3 double crochets in that very last stitch of this row. Okay, so now we're going to get ready to switch things up just a little bit. I'm going to do a single chain and I'm going to turn my work. And then I'm going to, in that same turning stitch, I'm going to slip stitch 1, and then in the next stitch I'm going to make a slip stitch, and then in the third stitch I'm going to make a slip stitch. And then I'm going to make a back post double crochet in the next 7 post stitches. And then we're going to do a slip stitch in the next 7 stitches. And then a back post double crochet in the next 7 stitches after that. And then we're going to slip stitch the last 3 stitches of the row. So this is the back of the piece, and you can see how the pattern is beginning to emerge. I'm going to turn it over, and this is like, these 8 rows are like the complete block, or a complete single block. So when we begin again, we will be starting off like as if we were starting in row 1 all over again. So I'll do a few more stitches in row 9 to kind of show you, or at least those beginners, kind of give them an idea on how, on what that looks like to start, you know, to start the whole pattern all over again. But before I do that, I want to let you know, so this is since this is your first block, right? You're going to continue to do these 8 rows over and over again until you get approximately 60 inches long. That's about the standard length of a scarf. So of course, if you want it longer, you're always certainly just do another 8 block and just add that on top. And that's going to give you an additional 4 inches. So for each 8 block section, you're going to add an additional 4 inches onto your piece. So that works out just great. Same thing. If you need to make it shorter because you're making this for a younger person, then just eliminate 4 blocks, or sorry, just eliminate 8 rows, or 4 inches basically is how that's going to work out with your gauge if you've got everything gauged correctly. It's real simple. So let me go ahead and do the next stitches for those who need to kind of see how we start this 8 rows of pattern all over again. And after that, I will be back to show you how to do the trim, and then also how to add on that leaf motif that we already made. So to get restarted again, I'm going to chain 3, and that's going to be my first double crochet for all intents and purposes. So I'm going to go to the next slip stitch. So your first slip stitch is basically in that turning chain, and I'm going to go to the next slip stitch. Maybe. And I'm going to double crochet. And then I'm going to go to that third slip stitch. And again, I'm going to double crochet. So now I'm going to count over 3 of these double crochets. And I'm going to double crochet into that 4th post double crochet stitch. And I'm going to do that 3 times. And I'm going to do a chain stitch, and then I'm going to double crochet in that same space 3 more times. And then I'm going to skip the next 3 post double crochets, and then I'm going to make a double crochet into that slip stitch. And I will do that for a total of 7 times in each of the slip stitches. And then I'm going to skip the next 3 stitches, and I'm going to put 3 double crochets into the following stitch, then chain 1, and then 3 more double crochets into that same stitch. And then double crochet in the next 3 slip stitches. Okay, so you can see how we've begun the first row of the next block. So for those of you who are just learning, this is your foundation chain. And then this will be row 1, row 2, row 3, and row 4. Then we have row 5, row 6, row 7, and row 8. And this is what makes a complete block in my Windows design. And then, of course, you just repeat these 8 rows to continue to make this as long as you like. So now I'm just going to go ahead and take out this first row of the second block, because we're going to go ahead and I'm going to continue on and show you how to trim out this scarf. So with the right side of your work facing you, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chain 4. And then I'm going to skip the next stitch. And then I'm going to double crochet in that third slip stitch. Then I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to skip the next stitch, and I'm going to double crochet in the next stitch. Chain 1, skip, double crochet in the next stitch. Chain 1, skip this stitch, and double crochet in the next stitch. So that gives me this kind of a lattice look, and there's a reason for that. This is what I'm going to use to hang my Irish crochet leaves off of. And we'll show you how to do that here in just a little bit. So chain 1, skip, and then I'm going to do my double crochet into that next slip stitch. Chain 1, skip the next slip stitch, and double crochet into the next slip stitch. And continue that all the way to the end of this row. Okay, so now that we're at the end of the row, and I'm going to put my double crochet into that very last stitch. Again, maybe. I am actually going to make this kind of the beginning of my shell stitches that I use to trim out the side of my scarf, right? So now, just to give you a heads up, if you would prefer a scarf without any trim on it, oh, by all means, this is perfectly fine just the way it is. It has nice straight edges. It has a beautiful texture. If you don't want any additional embellishments, you really don't need additional embellishments to make this a stunning accessory to your fall and winter wear. But for those who do want it, we'll continue. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to double crochet again in that same spot. And I'm going to do that a total of 5 times. So I have 5 double crochets in that same last chain on the row. And you can see how it's making a nice corner. And I'm going to eyeball the length of a couple of stitches. And I'm going to just work off this last stitches, this last row. I don't want to come in any further than these last rows or last stitches on these rows. And I'm going to then do a single crochet. And then I'm going to eyeball about another couple of stitches. And I'm going to insert my hook about that point. And this is where I'm going to start my next shell. So I'm going to double crochet 5 double crochets. And then again, I'm going to figure out about where the space of 2 stitches are, where that's going to lay nicely. And I'm going to make a single crochet. So again, I'm going to figure out about how far it's going to go, and we're right about there to the corner. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do my first double crochet in the corner of the end, because we're going to pretend like we are at the opposite end of our scarf, and we've already done our scalloped edge through the full 60 lengths, and we've managed to get to the end. And I'm going to do my 5 double crochets in that corner. And you see how we have an overlap right there? So when you do the work, you're going to even it out, or you're going to space it out a little better than I did here. This is just for brevity's sake. I'll actually show you the finished piece once I'm finished showing you the basic steps. So, but once you get to the last shell of the line, and you have your 5 double crochets in that corner stitch, you're going to have this overhang right here. And that's good. That's fine. So you're going to chain 1. You're going to skip a stitch, and then you're going to double crochet right in the next chain space. And that's going to give you the beginning of the lattice, like what you did on the opposite side of your piece. And you're going to continue all the way down to this corner stitch, where just like up here, you're going to begin your 5 double crochets to begin that corner and those scallops. So now, when it comes time to sew your motif, your leaf motif on, you're going to just space it out, and you're going to use the lattice. So basically, you're going to just take your yarn, right? And the way I do it is I just use that to just kind of pull it through the lattice. And then I'm going to wrap that stem around the lattice, just like that. And then I'm going to just sew this on there. And it makes a really nice place to hang. Now, what you're going to do when you sew is you're going to take that yarn and you're going to weave it through the back end of your leaf motif in order to make it secure. And if you've spaced out your lattice properly, you will have no problems spacing out your leaf motif. So this is going to be the front part of your leaf motif. Right? So the way I have it is, if you can see that, in this first opening of the lattice is where I put my first leaf. And then I had a space of 3 openings, and then I put my second motif, and then a space of 3 openings, and my third motif, and then 3 openings, and then my 4th motif. And that makes a nice, even, visually pleasing fringe on your scarf. So this is what the front looks like. You can see the windows. They look like buildings, like houses, high rises, or even cliff dwellings. I think they kind of look like that too. I love it. The colors are beautiful. And then this is what the back is going to look like. So the back itself crochets up really nice and clean as well. So you can wear it without worrying about even the back detracting from the piece itself, because it's a nice clean piece and a nice clean look and warm. All right, that'll do it for our tutorial today. I hope this worked out for you. I hope it was of value to you. And if you did last this long through the entirety of the tutorial, you are just amazing. And again, if you found this video of value, please help support my channel and help it grow by hitting the like and subscribe button. And then also, if you're interested in receiving instant notifications of any of my new releases, go ahead and hit the notification bell. With all that said, go have a wonderfully creative day. Bye-bye now.